guys. I want to talk to you about this word passion. Passion is such a beautiful word. It has the ability of creating amazing things in people's lives. But if it isn't shared with the right person who has the emotional ability, emotional intelligence to be able to understand the passion without it being misinterpreted, it could be very harmful. And I'm saying this because this led me to think about, one, as a woman of color, how I have shared things with emotion and with passion, and how it has been misunderstood as maybe somebody who is not able to handle another situation. Or it also made me think about a recent conversation with um, somebody who had lost their a loved one due to a tragic accident, a tragic incident. I don't know if it's an accident or whatever, but it's something tragic that happens in this person's life, and they were sharing it with their significant other about the fact that their sibling had died, and they were going over the details, but the person who had more passion in the conversation was the significant other, the one who wasn't directly related to the person who died. And as they were discussing and exchanging ideas of what they thought were happening, the significant other, you could hear in their tone how passionate he was. You could hear the choice of words. You could hear the fluctuation of his voice. And to somebody who wasn't able to be disconnected or disengage with the emotion and listen more to the words, someone could really be tied into that passion, emotion, and interpret that as anger, interpret that as maybe just uncooperative, not wanting to hear or listen. But instead, what's more important is to ask the question, where is this passion coming from? We all have a story of where the root of our emotions are coming from. And sometimes it just means that in order for the person to not be misunderstood and mistaken for anger, the person who's hearing the passion should ask themselves, what is their story? Now, I'm mentioning this specifically because when I heard the conversation between my friend and um, their significant other, my first thought was like, wow, why is he so upset? It's not his sibling that was killed. But then I stopped and I paused and I thought, okay, good question. Why is he upset? Where is this coming from? There's always a reason, right? And as I was listening to him and taking a step back, I realized, oh, this is so much bigger than someone being killed. This is so much bigger. What is it? And asking those questions allowed me to lean further into the conversation as opposed to being judgmental from afar and just thinking, well, it's not his sibling. He just needs to get over it. Why is he so upset and angry? But there's a story. And I was more interested in hearing the story behind the scenes than what was presented to me up front, the conversation that was presented in the very beginning. And I'm just sharing this because we're all going to be passionate about something. And we need to all be passionate about something because we're all created to share our passions, to ignite our passions, to create with our passions, to give with our passions, right? And also to communicate with our passions. But it's up to the person. Not only is it up to the person who has the passion to be able to communicate that effectively, but it's also important to the person who's hearing the passion to have a step back and think and ask yourself, wow, tell me more about your passions. Where does this come from? Where is it where is it ignited from? As opposed to just saying, you're crazy. What are you doing? Why are you getting so angry? And there's always a reason. So when we can step back and take a moment to really listen to the story, then we can go so much further in being able to connect and being able to understand and being able to unite and also being able to judge less so we can get to what's most important, a commonality. So both my friend and their significant other, what they both wanted was justice. They both wanted justice. They both wanted to be heard. And they both had very valid arguments. But they both had to be understood and respected for their different level of passions in order for a conversation to continue. Thankfully, my friend was able to understand, or was able to use discernment and emotional intelligence to know that their significant other's passion is not personal. It's coming from somewhere deeper. And because she took the time to hear that, listen to that, and sit with that, that conversation went so much better. So much better. So please honor another person's passion. And don't be so quick to misinterpret someone's passion as being angry or irrational or unequipped. But maybe it's just about them wanting to be heard because there's parts of their story that still is needing to be uncovered.